An early Christmas gift for the Bank of England. UK inflation falls faster than expected in November. And it's tiny but tasty. We talked to the boss of a caviar company that says sales are booming despite the cost of living crisis. Hello, this is World Business Report. Now, annual consumer price inflation fell to 3.9% in November. It is down from 4.6% in the month before. More substantial a fall than many had expected, thanks to a fall in the cost of items like bread and fuel. Well, food is still 9% more expensive, though, than a year ago. So all focus will shift to the Bank of England and that debate over when it will start cutting interest rates. At the moment, they're at 5.25% after successive rises to try and keep a lid on inflation. Well, Simon French is chief economist at Panmure Gordon. And Simon, what do you make of the numbers? What do they tell us about what the economy is doing?
Ben, after 2 years of chatting to you and others about some pretty pessimistic, some pretty negative UK economic data, it's quite a relief, isn't it, to be talking about quite an encouraging picture on inflation, sub 4% for the first time in more than 2 years. But it is, if you like, the breadth with which prices are now slowing, which is encouraging. We knew that energy prices were moving lower. We knew that although, as you mentioned, food prices still close to 10%, that is down from the almost 20% earlier in the year. But it is core inflation, services inflation, the type of data that the Bank of England, when they're setting interest rates, are going to really hone in on, which was actually very encouraging. Core inflation of 5.1%, still 2.5 times the inflation target, but it's really slowed quite materially since the start of the year.
And as I said, the food prices are still, 9% higher than they were this time last year. So one expects there's a bit of deflation to play out there first before the Bank of England can start thinking about cutting rates.
That's right, and encouragingly, when we get consumer price indexes, we also get a release from the Office for National Statistics on producer prices, if you like, further up the supply chain, but it gives us an indication of what prices are to come for consumers shopping at supermarkets in the new year. And that is very close now to being 0% inflation. It'll probably move into outright deflation in the new year. And while I don't expect consumer prices to follow exactly that pattern, I think we can expect that food price inflation to go into the low single digits by the middle of next year. And for such a visible part of the consumer price basket, I think that's quite important for expectations of where prices are heading.
Yes, and so the Bank of England will look at that really closely, and when they meet throughout the year, they will decide, of course, when they may cut interest rates. What are you thinking right now? When might we see that first cut?
Well, my view is that we'll get the first interest rate cut in August of next year. Now, financial markets disagree with me. I'm pretty comfortable with that. It's not always great to be amongst consensus. They think it's going to come earlier. Indeed, they think there's a 50-50 chance that the Bank of England will be cut.